Hello, this is Dr. Joe Esposito, and I wanted to create a quick video for this article because of just what I saw about our doctors in AlignLife giving back to the communities during Hurricane Helene. Dr. Chris Boyhan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing much better. It's been roughly over a month since the world was flipped upside down here in Asheville, and literally just to have internet here is a luxury beyond anything. I think our previous conversations, I've been driving around town with my phone in the air looking for a reception and losing content that we're trying to create. So I'm just grateful to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited. Chris and I in Transparency, we did a talk about a week ago, and we were looking at helping communities maybe getting water intake. And we wrote this article that you'll see, getting water for people. But we changed a little bit here because things are starting to progress. But you would say this is a long-term process. I don't think people realize. Now, there was a lot of our doctors were affected. Tryon, Spartanburg, Asheville. I think your area was probably one of the worst hits in the nation. Is that correct, that area?
Yeah, the dam broke. There's a dam, Mount Mitchell's about 6,000 feet. The North Fork Dam's about 4,000. And where I live in Black Mountain is here, and then Chimney Rock. And it just sent water down 2,000 feet, which created a 26-foot high tidal wave coming through a little river that's usually a foot deep and 6 feet wide. And it, along the lines of what we're talking about, otherwise the pure devastation, it wiped out all the water lines. There were 6 ways to get water around here through the city, and then it wiped out the water treatment plants, and that's what they've repaired. So they finally made roads to get to the water sources to connect everything, but for the past 2 weeks that have had water, it's non-potable. So when you look in your toilet bowl, it's bright green because it's basically a step above sewage, because they're trying to treat it chemically in the plant, but it's not working the way they thought. And you have water in your house, but you can't drink it, and you certainly shouldn't shower in it. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And that's going to solve a real problem.
So yeah, well, going back like this, what I was saying, this is not another week project to get the town back to where it was. This is I remember we had a talk with Dr. Sebastian Bonin when he went through a hurricane in Puerto Rico, and he gave us the advice. This is an 18-month ordeal. Do you feel this rebuilding of the community is going to be a long-term event?
Oh, 100%. Sebastian was outside of the water coming to the door of my office and a building not smashing into it. Talking to him was the saving grace to because the community in Asheville and Puerto Rico are very similar, with tourism being the #1 business. You know, I was worried about the economy and things like that. And having talked to someone with experience that's been through it helped me really formulate my A plan, which is what we're activating now, and have B and C together. So that was very important. And, you know, when I talk to my practice members and my business partners, I'm able to say, hey, look, we're a month into this. Things are creeping along. We're at 15% workability, and it's just going to be this way for a while. Basically, of the 5 ways to get to my office, 1 is workable. So the one road that's working is overloaded with people that are typically not on it, that are nervous to be on the highway. It's taking people, a 10-minute ride takes an hour. I want to commend everyone's effort to get there, but to say we're stressed is just an understatement. I think when we talked the other day, my concern is, you know, we're going to have the time change coming. So we're going to lose a sleep cycle automatically, right? That's never good. And now the temperatures change. And one thing, since the storm, it has not rained here. So it's basically a dust bowl. Like, picture those old Western movies with a stagecoach. That's basically what it looks like at night. When the sun goes down, you'll see this huge haze over, and people come in and complain of lung and congestion and sinus. And, you know, we're adjusting their neck, their ribs, we're opening them up. They're able to breathe a little bit better. But some people are taking matters into their own hands. They just want to feel clean. And I got guys that do hard manual labor, tree work. And there was a joke on a barbecue place the other day, and what it said was that the new shower is called the dry rub. And it's true. I've been taking a bucket bath for a month with cold water, which I like. Cold showers, it's just good for your health, but you don't get that pressure, you know. So people, even though there's chemicals in the water, are still doing it. And I'm afraid that we're going to have a lot of health problems moving forward in the community, because like you said, this isn't a 1 month thing. This is a 18-month problem.
So I love your solution, and I want to talk about the mindset too, if we have 2 seconds on that, on stress management and what you're doing in the office and how chiropractic plays a role in helping reduce stress to help our bodies adapt during times of stress, because that's what we need to adapt to stress. But before we even get there, I love your practical solution here, because you explained to me there's so much chlorine in the water, like not only you can't drink it, you get very sick, but you shouldn't even put it on your skin, because chlorine absorbs through the vapor, and it absorbs through the inhalation, but it also absorbs right through your skin. Chlorine is one of the major organic chlorides, whether it be oxidation, skin damage, cancer, other diseases. It's not a good thing. So your recommendation, that's why I wanted you to come on to this, is you want us to help you with a GoFundMe, where if you're listening to this and you're a patient of an AlignLife doctor, AlignLife office, and you want to give back to this hurricane relief, Chris wants to contribute to create filters for the shower, because people haven't showered in a month. And you think of them out there, like our colleague and good friend, Chris Bedenbaugh, one of the doctors, with a chainsaw for 10 hours a day and not being able to shower for a month. So I love your idea. A simple $70 addition can help some of the people at least get quality of life back. So I want to commend you on this idea. So if you want to talk a second about it, I think it's smart.
Yeah, well, once I got myself adjusted and got some body work and freed myself of my own stress, the ideas started to flow back in. And I had a little flashback to my childhood. My grandfather was in the Navy, so in my family, you had to know how to swim. And one day he was taking care of the chlorine in the pool, and he got exposed to it, like he whiffed it. And they're like, Grandpa got hurt. We ran over to the house. I thought he was dying. He was like sucking on oxygen. So ever since then, I've been like aware of chlorine. And then obviously, everyone should have a shower filter regardless of it, but especially here in Asheville, like total dissolved solids, like how much sediments in your water. So typical Asheville city water is about a 30. I tested it the other day with my meter. It's at 220, and that's just the drinking water, the solids. So now when you take a hot shower, these chemical byproducts and disinfectants become a gas and you inhale it. Basically, chlorine absorbed in a 10-minute shower is equal to drinking 2 gallons of water. Could you imagine that? Like how fast you couldn't drink 2 gallons of water in a day, you would die, but you could inhale it in 10 minutes while you're trying to get all this crud off of you. So I was like, hey, we need to help our community to be safe and get through the winter, because really nobody could afford to be sick right now. And Pristine Hydro is a company I've known for a long time out of California. Anyone that knows California, they have the worst water in the country. Due to their total dissolved solids about a 500, and their water for purification systems brings that down. And then I called them personally about the shower heads, and they've got 2 different models, 2 different price points, but they both will take out the chlorine. The other ones will do like fluoride, iron, heavy metals, bacteria, calcium. And what I've noticed is at the house with my girlfriend doing dishes, she's complaining of her skin being super dry and itchy. And that's one of the reasons I was like, you probably don't want to take a shower with that, because your hairdo is going to get a mess up here, and if that's just doing it to your hands, imagine what it's doing to your lungs on the inside. And that's why we're here to get the message out today.
Liver stress, muscle stress, inflammation, it's destructive. So you can't use that water shower. So I love Chris's campaign. I wanted to create this simple video. We have a GoFundMe underneath that you can click, and whether it's $5 or you buy a full one for $70 and help a family out that's suffering. It's the least we could do. It's very practical. So thank you for that. We're looking at, I'd love to see if we can create at least 100 shower filters for the local community in Asheville. Let's team up as an AlignLife family, contribute, and show the local community. But I do want to comment real quick of what Dr. Chris Bedenbaugh, what Dr. Clay Baker, and what yourself did. It was interesting. All of you had your practices shut down for a period of time, and then you're doing activity, whether you're out there helping people. I know you even did work at a local gym doing evaluations, and you're doing other things to just allow people to understand what's going on with their health. I mean, these laborers are working all day and in pain and suffering. So I love that you open the office right away, and then you're giving back to the community. But do you think it's just chiropractors are just servants by nature? Why you and the other doctors went right to the community of like, what can we do to help?
I think it's just human nature, especially as a man. Like every day, if you saw the highway and the amount of work trucks that are coming into Black Mountain where I live to still repair things and they're coming from around the world, you just would cry. Like how much the power of a few men on a crew can do, and like I think you just, where you see a crack, you go in there and pile drive it open with whatever you can make it happen to do that. And like, I've been in healthcare for 25 years. I've been involved in high athletics. I've seen the craziest injuries, and like, I have never in my life seen people hurting so bad. Like, we stabilized the practice. The 2 first weeks were berserk in a good way, but people that were under regular care, I've never seen the look on their face and the despair and just the injury of survival. And some bounced back in 1 visit because they were consistent with their care. Some took 2 or 3, and we've got them all there. But my big concern is the people that are still in fight or flight crisis mode that haven't necessarily given themselves permission to feel better. They're hurting too, and you got to come in. Your health's a priority, and that's why we're doing this thing as a capital goods for your family and your health for long term, to kind of get you into the health field, but don't neglect your structural health and your neurology, because you're going to need it this winter more than ever. And all the other AlignLife doctors, I think each one of them, the stories are a little different. They did what was available to them at the time. And like, I was at the gym last Friday, and like dudes that are beasts, I'm talking squat 500, 600 pounds, were hurting, and they don't want to talk about it because I've seen them there before. But I did a little pop-up shop, and one by one, they all came in, and like, hey, this or this and that. And like, the littlest thing makes you just feel better about yourself and gives you a little bit of strength, of fortitude to go forward. And, right now our tribe is broken, but we're going to heal just like a bone. When a bone breaks, it's going to heal, but you got to set it. You got to put it in a cast. Nature's going to heal itself. We just clean it up a little bit, but we have to focus on healing our broken bones. And you need a little bit of help to do that. And that's what we're here for, not only here in Asheville, but every chiropractor in AlignLife and around the country. And, give yourself this gift, because you can't afford not to.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think in chiropractic, even us as doctors, we focus so much on the physical aspect of it, looking at structure. And, our forefathers in the profession, for a little bit of philosophy, talked about, well, there's thoughts, traumas, and toxins affect this, the nervous system, our ability to adapt to stress, like chaos and destruction and despair. And you and I talked about it. It's something that both of us, I don't think, put a lot of maybe self-awareness or as much attention as our forefathers did. But thinking about thoughts, of course, traumas and toxins like the chlorine, but thoughts causing it. So I've been more aware of it through some of these destructive things, even here in Puerto Rico, when there's so much despair. And I don't want to get too technical, but our muscle spasms, the hormones go off, they're pulling structure out of position. It creates the nervous system is more under tension. And when you use the chiropractic and the specific work that you do, which I love, it's a very unique method that I don't think I've seen anywhere in your region at all, that does those very advanced analysis and x-ray to truly find the area where the nervous system doesn't have that flow, the adaptability that we want, and to free that up for someone that's in despair or has to adapt or has to get to work or has to perform. I don't know. I'm just have more awareness myself on the thoughts and the stress effect. Does that make sense? Like, I think we need to talk more about that in our own field.
That's all I've been talking about to people, is the trauma, usually it's trauma, neurostructural stuff that we're the best at dealing with because of everything is humming along just fine. But underneath there is those thoughts and those emotions and the toxins. And now, that's why we're doing the shower heads, because we cannot put toxins in our body knowingly and expect to function right. Like, we have not been sleeping right. We have been not eating nutrient dense foods because they're just not available to us, or your appetite's off because you're in sympathetic dominance. You're just not hungry, even though you've been chainsawing for 8 hours a day. And then the mental side of it, like, people are just so distraught. I was talking to someone the other day, and I was talking about meditation and just introduced the idea of like sitting down for 2 minutes, and they couldn't fathom it. They were like, no, I need to do something mindless, like scroll on social media. I'm like, that's going to overload your mind, even though it's a mindless task, versus like unloading your mind to free up some space. But, sometimes you just start with a breath, and just restore it by breathing one by one, because it just can be so overwhelming right now. And like you wrestled, I wrestled, and wrestling's a game of inches where I just need a little space to wiggle my body to let it start calming down, and we start stacking those wins. And that's what I'm super proud about. Everyone that in the community here has kind of come together. We're stacking our wins. They're small, we don't see them, but you know, when we turn around 17 months from now, when we have a whole opportunity here to rebuild our forest system, to rebuild our health, and to make us more resilient during this time, so that the next time something like this happens, we can bounce back faster.
Yeah, I'm so in agreement with that. So yeah, in closing, if you're listening to this video, focus on your ability to adapt. Like Chris is saying, that short breath. One of the things that's out there is called box breathing, where you take like a 4-second or 10-second breath in, hold for 10 seconds, exhale for 10 seconds, and then breathe in for 10 seconds and create a cycle. Just slowing down the method of breathing. And then with chiropractic can actually alleviate the amount of neurological tension, which is the nervous system, so that we can create a sense of peace. So you can focus on your family, your job, your work, or whatever it is that you need to do. So chiropractic will help the adaptability of the human body so we could experience the next level of health or life that we're looking for. So Chris, thanks for doing this. Go fund me. I appreciate that. I hope we get a lot of contributions so you can give back to the community. And I appreciate what you've done with Dr. Bedenbaugh's done, Dr. Clay Baker's done, and your whole region. AlignLife's come together as an organization to help the local people. Anything else we can do for you, Doc, in your community? And we'll say, say the prayers for that your local community. I know they're teaming up and doing what's best for everyone. I heard it's a beautiful group effort around there.
Yeah, everyone's pitched in, and strength and peace from within, and looking forward to see how we could serve our community with this project.
Awesome. Have a good day, Chris.
Thank you.
Okay.